The first rays of dawn creep across the Anatolian plateau, illuminating stone pillars that have watched over this desolate landscape for longer than human memory dares to reach. Here, in southeastern Turkey, beneath layers of earth and centuries of silence, lies a riddle that threatens to unravel everything we thought we knew about the birth of civilization. Welcome to Göbekli Tepe, the world's oldest temple complex, a monument so ancient it predates Stonehenge by 6,000 years, the pyramids by 7,000, and perhaps most impossibly, the very invention of agriculture itself. Standing among these weathered megaliths, you cannot escape the weight of an uncomfortable question. How did hunter-gatherers, people we imagine as barely capable of crafting simple tools, manage to quarry, transport, and arrange massive stone blocks into precise circular formations, decorated with intricate carvings of animals, symbols, and beings that seem to dance between the human and the divine? The implications stretch far beyond archaeology into the realm of the impossible, challenging not just our timeline of human development, but our entire understanding of who we were in those forgotten millennia. For decades, textbooks have painted a neat progression of human advancement. First came the nomads, wandering bands of primitive hunters following herds across endless landscapes. Then agriculture bloomed in the fertile valleys of Mesopotamia around 10,000 BCE, allowing settlements to form. Only after communities grew stable and surplus food freed some individuals from the daily struggle for survival, could they turn their attention to religion, art, and monumental architecture. This narrative flows like a river, each development naturally feeding into the next, creating the foundation upon which all subsequent civilization would rise. But Göbekli Tepe shatters that river, reversing its flow entirely. Here stands proof that our ancestors built temples before they built cities, carved gods before they planted grain, and organized complex religious ceremonies before they learned to domesticate animals. The dating is unambiguous. Radiocarbon analysis places the earliest phases of construction at approximately 9,600 BCE, making it contemporary with the end of the last ice age, when much of Europe still lay beneath glacial sheets and the first agricultural experiments were just beginning in the Levant. The site itself sprawls across 22 acres atop a limestone ridge, though excavations have revealed only a fraction of what lies buried beneath the accumulated soil of millennia. What has emerged challenges every assumption about Stone Age capabilities. Massive T-shaped pillars, some weighing more than 16 tons and standing over 5 meters tall, form ceremonial circles connected by walls of precisely fitted stones. The craftsmanship rivals works produced thousands of years later by civilizations with metal tools, written languages, and sentient, yet thescialized governments. Monuments were created by people who supposedly possessed none of those advantages. They worked with flint, obsidian, and stone tools, yet achieved a level of artistic sophistication that would not be seen again for millennia. The pillars bear elaborate reliefs of lions, boars, foxes, scorpions, and serpents, carved with anatomical accuracy and dynamic movement that brings the stone to life. Abstract symbols appear throughout, geometric patterns and pictographs that hint at a symbolic language, perhaps even early writing predating the earliest known scripts by thousands of years. The mystery deepens when you consider the logistics of construction. The nearest quarries lie hundreds of meters away, across uneven terrain that would have challenged even modern machinery. How did Stone Age builders move 16-ton monoliths without wheels, without domesticated animals, without pulleys or levers? Archaeological experiments attempting to replicate these feats using period-appropriate technology have largely failed, requiring either modern equipment or workforce numbers that strain credibility for hunter-gatherer populations. German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt, who led excavations at Gobekli Tepe from 1995 until his death in 2014, estimated that each ceremonial circle would have required the coordinated labor of hundreds of workers over decades. The implications stagger the imagination. Where did these workers come from? How were they fed, housed, and organized? What authority could command such massive undertakings from scattered nomadic tribes? Traditional archaeology suggests that complex social hierarchies emerge only after agricultural surplus creates class distinctions between farmers and specialists. Yet Göbekli Tepe demands hierarchies capable of planning, funding, and executing projects that dwarf medieval cathedrals in scope and ambition. Someone had to envision the final design, direct the quarrying and transport of stones, coordinate the work of skilled carvers and unskilled laborers, and maintain the site across centuries of continuous use. The animal carvings themselves tell a story that archaeology struggles to explain. Lions, leopards, aurochs, and wild boar populate the pillars, creatures that once roamed the region but disappeared as climate changed and human populations expanded. These are not random decorations, but carefully chosen symbols representing the apex predators and most dangerous game animals of their time. The precision of their depiction suggests intimate knowledge, the kind of familiarity that comes only from direct encounter and careful observation. But scattered among the familiar creatures are beings that defy easy categorization. Anthropomorphic figures with human bodies, but animal heads appear throughout the complex. Some scholars interpret these as shamanic representations, humans transformed through ritual or trance states into hybrid beings capable of communicating with the animal world. Others suggest they represent deities, gods of the hunt or fertility worshipped by the temple builders. The T-shaped pillars themselves may represent stylized human figures, their horizontal tops forming shoulders and arms, while vertical shafts suggest bodies draped in ceremonial garments. If this interpretation holds, then each circle represents a gathering of stone beings, eternal witnesses to rituals performed in their shadows. The largest pillars, positioned at the center of each enclosure, would then be the leaders of these assemblies, primary deities or ancestors overseeing the ceremonies of their descendants. Recent discoveries have added new layers to the mystery. Ground-penetrating radar reveals dozens of additional circles still buried beneath the surface, suggesting that Göbekli Tepe was not a single temple but an entire sacred city, a pilgrimage destination that drew worshippers from across the ancient world. The implications are staggering. If confirmed, this would represent the world's first truly monumental religious complex, predating similar sites by thousands of years. Analysis of the site's construction phases reveals another puzzling pattern. The oldest circles, dating to approximately 9,600 BCE, display the most sophisticated craftsmanship and artistic achievement. Later phases show declining skill levels and smaller pillars with cruder carvings. This inverted progression contradicts the expected pattern of technological development, suggesting that the builder's knowledge and capabilities decreased rather than improved over time. What could account for such regression? Some researchers propose that the original builders possessed advanced techniques later forgotten as social conditions changed. Others suggest that climate shifts or population pressures forced the abandonment of specialized craft knowledge in favor of more practical survival skills. The pattern mirrors observations from other archaeological sites where early phases show remarkable sophistication followed by apparent decline, as if each represented the final flowering of a dying tradition rather than the birth of a new one. The site's abandonment adds another layer of mystery. Around 8000 BCE, after more than a millennium of continuous use, Göbekli Tepe was deliberately buried under tons of earth and stone. This was not gradual abandonment or natural covering by wind and weather, but systematic interment carried out by human hands. Whoever performed this massive undertaking wanted to preserve the site for posterity while simultaneously hiding it from view. Why would a civilization invest enormous effort to bury its greatest achievement? Archaeological parallels are few, but the act suggests reverence rather than destruction. Perhaps the builders believed their work was complete, that the temple had served its purpose and should be sealed like a time capsule for future discovery. Or perhaps changing beliefs or circumstances made the site dangerous or inappropriate for continued use, requiring its removal from the world of the living while preserving its sacred essence. The burial itself required planning and labor comparable to the original construction. Millions of tons of earth and stone were moved to create the artificial hill that concealed the temple complex for nearly 10 millennia. This was not the work of a dying culture, but of one still capable of marshaling significant resources and coordinated effort. The question remains whether those who buried Göbekli Tepe were its original builders or inheritors of a tradition they no longer fully understood. Recent excavations have uncovered additional clues about the site's users. Chemical analysis of soil samples reveals traces of cereals and legumes in quantities suggesting large-scale food preparation, evidence of feasting on a scale that would have drawn participants from vast distances. Stone vessels and grinding tools hint at the preparation of fermented beverages, perhaps ritual drinks that altered consciousness and facilitated communion with the divine. The discovery of human bone fragments in some areas has sparked debate about possible sacrifice or mortuary practices, though the evidence remains inconclusive. What seems certain is that Göbekli Tepe served as more than a temple. It was a gathering place where scattered hunter-gatherer bands came together for ceremonies, trade, and social bonding that may have laid the groundwork for later agricultural communities. This social dimension may hold the key to understanding Göbekli Tepe's true significance. The coordination required for its construction would have necessitated unprecedented cooperation between groups that might normally compete for resources. The shared labor of building and maintaining the site could have fostered social bonds and cultural exchange that accelerated human development in ways we are only beginning to understand. The implications extend beyond the mere realm of shared cooperative knowledge systems, challenging our understanding of prehistoric cognition. The symbolic language carved into Göbekli Tepe's pillars suggests a level of abstract thinking previously attributed only to much later civilizations. These are not simple hunting scenes or fertility symbols, but complex narratives that weave together cosmology, mythology, and natural observation into coherent visual stories. Consider the recurring motif of the handbag or basket symbol that appears throughout the site, often held by humanoid figures or positioned prominently within scenes. This same symbol emerges in civilizations separated by thousands of years and thousands of miles, from Mesopotamian reliefs to Mesoamerican carvings to Easter Island petroglyphs. The consistency suggests either remarkable coincidence or the transmission of symbolic meaning across vast stretches of time and space. The astronomical alignments at Göbekli Tepe add another dimension to its mystery. The circular enclosures are not randomly oriented, but carefully positioned to mark significant celestial events. The summer solstice sunrise aligns perfectly with the southeastern entrance of Enclosure D, while other structures correspond to the rising and setting of specific constellations. This astronomical precision indicates sophisticated observation of celestial mechanics by people supposedly focused entirely on daily survival. The builders possess knowledge of the precession of equinoxes, the slow wobble of Earth's axis that shifts the apparent position of stars over millennia. Carved symbols on Pillar 43 have been interpreted as a star map depicting the constellation Cygnus at its position around 10,000 BCE. If accurate, this would represent humanity's earliest known attempt to record astronomical observation in permanent form, predating similar achievements by thousands of years. Such knowledge could not have emerged spontaneously among isolated hunter-gatherer bands. It requires generations of careful observation, record-keeping, and cultural transmission. The builders of Göbekli Tepe must have belonged to a sophisticated intellectual tradition that valued learning and preserved knowledge across centuries. Yet no evidence of this tradition survives in the archaeological record beyond the temple itself. The site's influence on subsequent developments becomes clearer when we examine the broader archaeological landscape of the region. Within a few centuries of Göbekli Tepe's construction, permanent settlements began appearing throughout the Fertile Crescent. These early villages, including sites like Nevali Kori and Kafir Hoyuk, show clear architectural and symbolic connections to the temple complex. T-shaped pillars appear in domestic contexts, while similar animal carvings and abstract symbols decorate household objects and ceremonial items. This cultural diffusion suggests that Göbekli Tepe served as more than a religious center. It was an engine of innovation, a place where new ideas in architecture, art, and social organization were developed and then carried back to home communities by visiting pilgrims. The temple complex may have functioned as prehistory's first university, a center of learning that attracted the most skilled craftsmen and innovative thinkers from across the ancient world, from hunting and the transition gathering to agriculture, long considered a gradual process driven by population pressure and climate change, may have been accelerated by the social networks created around Göbekli Tepe. The need to feed large gatherings of pilgrims could have incentivized early experiments with plant cultivation, while the exchange of knowledge between diverse groups would have spread successful innovations rapidly across the region. Genetic studies of early wheat varieties support this hypothesis. The ancestors of modern wheat show evidence of selective breeding beginning around 9000 BCE, precisely coinciding with Göbekli Tepe's period of peak activity. These early cultivars were not random mutations, but the result of deliberate human intervention, suggesting systematic experimentation with plant genetics by people who understood the principles of heredity and selective breeding. The temple builders may have been history's first genetic engineers, manipulating plant and animal characteristics through careful breeding programs that transformed wild species into domestic varieties. This knowledge would have given them enormous advantages in food production, allowing them to support larger populations and more complex social structures than their contemporaries. Evidence for this advanced understanding appears in the animal carvings at Göbekli Tepe itself. Many depict creatures in transitional states between wild and domestic forms, as if documenting the process of domestication in real time. Boars appear with shortened snouts characteristic of domestic pigs, while aurochs show the reduced horn size typical of early cattle breeds. These artistic records may preserve humanity's first attempts at animal husbandry. The site's builders also demonstrated sophisticated understanding of geology and engineering. The temple circles are positioned to take advantage of natural limestone formations that provided both structural stability and acoustic properties. Sound tests reveal that the enclosures amplify human voices while filtering out external noise, creating perfect conditions for ceremonial chanting or musical performance. The acoustic design extends to the T-shaped pillars themselves, which resonate at specific frequencies when struck. Each pillar produces a distinct tone, allowing the creation of complex musical arrangements during ceremonies. This acoustic engineering rivals achievements of much later civilizations, suggesting that the builders possessed advanced knowledge of mathematics and physics applied to architectural design. Water management systems carved into the bedrock demonstrate additional engineering prowess. Channels and basins direct rainwater away from the enclosures while creating reservoirs for ceremonial use. The precision of these hydraulic works indicates understanding of fluid dynamics and hydrostatic pressure that would not be formally described until millennia later. The construction techniques themselves remain largely mysterious despite decades of study. The massive pillars show no evidence of the tool marks typically left by Stone Age implements. Instead, the surfaces appear to have been shaped by methods that left no trace, as if the stone had been molded rather than carved. Some researchers have proposed the use of organic acids or other chemical processes to soften limestone before shaping, though no direct evidence supports this hypothesis. The transportation methods present equal puzzles. Experimental archaeology has attempted to replicate the movement of 16-ton blocks using wooden rollers, earthen ramps, and human labor. These efforts have largely failed, requiring either mechanical assistance or workforce numbers that exceed reasonable estimates for hunter-gatherer populations. The builders must have possessed techniques or technologies that left no archaeological signature. Recent discoveries at nearby sites have added new pieces to the puzzle. Karahan Tepe, located 30 kilometers southeast of Göbekli Tepe, features similar T-shaped pillars and circular enclosures, but with significant variations in design and symbolism. The animal carvings emphasize different species, while human figures appear more frequently and in more prominent positions. These differences suggest distinct cultural traditions or temporal variations within the same civilization. Bonkuklu Tarla, another recently excavated site, shows even more dramatic departures from the Gobekli Tepe template while maintaining clear connections to the same cultural complex. Here, rectangular structures replace circular enclosures, while the pillar decorations focus on geometric patterns rather than naturalistic animal forms. The evolution or diversification of architectural styles indicates a dynamic cultural tradition that adapted to local conditions while maintaining core symbolic elements. The broader distribution of related sites extends the mystery across hundreds of kilometers. From the Taurus Mountains to the Syrian border, archaeologists have identified dozens of locations with similar T-shaped pillars, circular structures, and symbolic carvings. This vast network suggests a unified culture or religious movement that influenced an area larger than most ancient empires. The scale of this cultural influence raises profound questions about social organization in the prehistoric world. How did scattered hunter-gatherer groups coordinate activities across such vast distances? What communication systems allowed the transmission of complex architectural and symbolic knowledge between communities separated by hundreds of kilometers? The logistics challenge conventional models of Stone Age society as fundamentally local and isolated. Trade networks provide part of the answer. Obsidian blades found at Göbekli Tepe originated from volcanic sources in Cappadocia, over 500 kilometers away. Other materials, including exotic stones and shells, came from even greater distances, indicating exchange relationships that spanned much of Anatolia and the Levant. These trade routes would have facilitated not only material exchange, but also the spread of ideas, technologies, and religious beliefs. The sophistication of these networks rivals those of much later civilizations. Quality control standards ensured that obsidian blades met consistent specifications regardless of their source, while standardized weights and measures facilitated fair exchange. Such systems require central authority or at least widespread agreement on commercial practices, again challenging assumptions about prehistoric social complexity. The religious practices associated with these trade networks reveal additional layers of complexity that archaeology struggles to explain. Ritual deposits found throughout the Göbekli Tepe region contain offerings from across the known world, suggesting pilgrimage journeys that would have required months of travel through hostile terrain. These offerings were not random gifts, but carefully selected items that held specific symbolic significance, indicating sophisticated theological systems that governed inter-regional religious exchange. Stone bowls carved from rare minerals appear repeatedly in ceremonial contexts, their surfaces polished to mirror-like perfection using techniques that produced no detectable tool marks. The vessels themselves seem to have been designed for specific rituals involving liquids, their shapes optimized for pouring, mixing, or heating substances whose exact nature remains unknown. Chemical residues hint at complex preparations involving fermented grains, aromatic herbs, and substances that may have induced altered states of consciousness during religious ceremonies. The preparation and consumption of these ritual beverages required knowledge that bridges multiple disciplines. Botanical expertise identified which plants produced desired effects, while chemical understanding allowed their proper processing and combination. The brewing techniques themselves demanded precision timing and temperature control that suggests systematic experimentation across generations of religious practitioners. Evidence of this pharmaceutical knowledge appears throughout the site in the form of specialized grinding stones, filtration systems, and storage vessels designed for specific stages of preparation. The sophistication of these implements rivals equipment used by modern ethnobotanists, indicating that the temple builders possessed detailed understanding of plant chemistry and its effects on human consciousness. The social implications of such knowledge extend far beyond simple religious practice. Control over consciousness-altering substances would have granted enormous power to those who possess the secrets of their preparation and use. Priest pharmacists may have formed the earliest specialized class in human society, their unique knowledge making them indispensable to communities across the region. This specialization would have required institutional support systems that challenge conventional models of hunter-gatherer society. Training new practitioners demanded years of education in botanical identification, chemical processes, and ritual procedures. Such investment in human capital suggests stable communities capable of supporting non-productive specialists across extended periods. The astronomical knowledge embedded in Göbekli Tepe's architecture supports this interpretation of advanced specialization. The precise alignments with celestial events required not only careful observation, but also mathematical calculation of angular relationships and temporal cycles. This knowledge had practical applications beyond religious ceremony, providing the foundation for agricultural timing, navigation, and calendar systems. Star maps carved into the pillars preserve observational records spanning centuries, documenting the slow changes in stellar positions caused by precession. The accuracy of these records suggests systematic observation programs conducted by dedicated astronomer priests who maintain detailed records across generations. Such continuity of observation requires institutional memory and educational systems that preserve knowledge despite the inevitable mortality of individual observers. The mathematical sophistication implied by these astronomical achievements extends to the site's architectural proportions. Analysis reveals that the circular enclosures embody geometric relationships found in later architectural masterpieces, including the golden ratio and harmonic proportions that create visually pleasing and acoustically optimal spaces. The builders understood principles of sacred geometry that would not be formally described until classical antiquity. These mathematical insights appear to have influenced technological development throughout the region. Pottery from contemporary sites shows proportional relationships derived from Göbekli Tepe's architectural ratios, while tool designs optimize functional efficiency through geometric principles first embodied in the temple complex. The site served as more than a religious center, functioning as a technological innovation hub that influenced material culture across vast areas. The influence extended to metallurgical development as well. Though Göbekli Tepe itself belongs to the Stone Age, nearby sites from slightly later periods show evidence of copper working that may have originated from experimental programs conducted by the temple builders. The transition from stone to metal tools required sophisticated understanding of ore geology, smelting temperatures, and alloy chemistry that suggests systematic research programs. Chemical analysis of early copper artifacts reveals intentional alloying with arsenic and other elements to improve hardness and durability. These innovations were not accidental discoveries, but the result of deliberate experimentation by craftsmen who understood the relationship between chemical composition and material properties. Such knowledge could only have emerged from systematic investigation conducted by specialized researchers. The social organization required to support such research challenges every assumption about prehistoric capabilities. Advanced metallurgy demanded not only skilled craftsmen, but also mining operations, fuel procurement, and distribution networks that linked raw material sources with centers of production and consumption. The coordination of these activities required administrative systems of remarkable sophistication. Trade goods found at Göbekli Tepe include metal objects that predate the supposed invention of metallurgy in the region by centuries. These artifacts show manufacturing techniques that would not reappear in the archaeological record until much later periods, suggesting either remarkable technological regression or gaps in our understanding of prehistoric development. The pattern of apparent technological loss extends beyond metallurgy to include architectural techniques, artistic styles, and symbolic systems that reached their peak at Göbekli Tepe and then gradually declined in subsequent periods. This regression contradicts the expected trajectory of human development, suggesting either catastrophic disruption or the deliberate abandonment of advanced knowledge. Climate data from the period provides one possible explanation for this apparent decline. The Younger Dryas Cold Period, which began around 10,800 BCE, brought dramatic environmental changes that would have disrupted established patterns of life across the region. Rapid cooling, changing precipitation patterns, and ecosystem collapse could have forced the abandonment of specialized knowledge in favor of basic survival skills. The end of this climatic crisis around 9,600 BCE coincides precisely with the construction of Göbekli Tepe's earliest phases, suggesting that the temple complex may have been built as a response to environmental catastrophe. The monumental effort required for its construction could represent an attempt to restore cosmic order through ritual means, appealing to divine powers for protection against further disasters. Archaeological evidence supports this interpretation of crisis response. The animal species depicted on the pillars include many that became extinct during the Younger Dryas, preserved in stone as memorials to a vanished world. The carvings may document an ecological collapse that forced fundamental changes in human society and religious belief. The deliberate burial of the site around 8000 BCE corresponds to another period of environmental change as the climate stabilized and agricultural societies emerged throughout the region. The temple builders may have recognized that their world was ending, that the hunter-gatherer lifestyle that had sustained their civilization for millennia was giving way to new forms of social organization. Rather than allow their sacred site to be desecrated by changing times, they chose to preserve it through burial, creating a time capsule that would protect their achievement for future discovery. The massive effort required for this preservation project suggests that the knowledge and social organization necessary for such undertaking survived long enough to complete the site's interment. The implications of this interpretation extend far beyond archaeology into fundamental questions about the nature of human civilization. If Göbekli Tepe represents the achievement of a sophisticated prehistoric culture that was subsequently lost, then our understanding of human development requires radical revision. The site suggests that complex civilization may be far older than previously imagined, with cycles of rise and decline that predate recorded history. This cyclical model of civilization finds support in mythological traditions worldwide, which describe previous ages of human achievement followed by catastrophic destruction and renewal. From the Hindu Yugas to the Mayan world ages, cultures across the globe preserve memories of earlier civilizations that possessed advanced knowledge subsequently lost to cataclysmic events. The builders of Göbekli Tepe may have been the last representatives of such a lost civilization, using their final resources to create a monument that would preserve essential knowledge for future rediscovery. The site's sophisticated encoding of astronomical, mathematical, and technological information supports this interpretation of intentional knowledge preservation. Modern archaeological techniques continue to reveal new layers of complexity at Göbekli Tepe, suggesting that our understanding of the site remains in its infancy. Ground-penetrating radar indicates dozens of additional circular structures still buried beneath accumulated sediments, while chemical analysis of soil samples reveals evidence of activities and materials not yet fully understood. Each new discovery deepens the mystery rather than resolving it, revealing capabilities and knowledge systems that challenge fundamental assumptions about prehistoric human society. The site stands as a testament to the sophistication of our ancestors and a reminder that human civilization may be far older and more complex than our current models suggest. The layers beneath Gobekli Tepe whisper secrets that archaeology has only begun to hear. As excavation teams carefully brush away millennia of accumulated earth, each season brings discoveries that force researchers to reconsider not just the site's purpose, but the very nature of the civilization that created it. Recent ground-penetrating radar surveys reveal that what we see today represents merely 5% of the total complex, with dozens of additional enclosures stretching deep into the hillside, like chambers in some vast underground cathedral. The scale defies comprehension. If current estimates prove accurate, Gobekli Tepe encompasses structures that would have required coordinated effort from thousands of workers across multiple generations. This was not a simple hunter-gatherer camp or seasonal gathering place, but a permanent installation that demanded continuous maintenance, provisioning, and protection. The social machinery necessary to sustain such an operation challenges every model of Stone Age society that archaeologists have constructed. Consider the sheer logistics of feeding the workforce. Bone analysis from refuse deposits indicates that massive quantities of game were processed at the site, far exceeding the needs of any reasonable construction crew. The remains include species from across the region, suggesting hunting parties that ranged hundreds of kilometers to supply the temple complex. This level of resource mobilization implies organizational systems that could coordinate activities across vast territories and diverse populations. The hunting itself reveals capabilities that stretch the boundaries of Stone Age technology. Analysis of bone fragments shows clean cuts and precise butchering techniques that suggest tools more sophisticated than simple flint knives. Some bones bear marks that appear to have been made by metal implements, though no such tools have been recovered from the appropriate archaeological layers. The discrepancy hints at missing chapters in our understanding of technological development during this crucial period. Stone tool analysis presents similar puzzles. The obsidian blades found throughout the site display manufacturing techniques that produced edges sharper than modern surgical scalpels. The knapping methods required to achieve such precision were not rediscovered until experimental archaeologists began studying the artifacts in laboratory settings. How did Stone Age craftsmen develop techniques that challenge modern reproduction efforts? The quarrying operations present even greater mysteries. Recent geological surveys have identified the exact locations where Gobekli Tepe's massive pillars were extracted, revealing precision cutting that left surfaces as smooth as polished marble. No tool marks remain to indicate the methods used, as if the limestone had been sliced rather than chipped or hammered. Modern attempts to replicate these cuts using period-appropriate tools have failed to achieve even crude approximations of the original quality. Transport routes from quarry to construction site reveal additional evidence of sophisticated engineering. The paths show careful grading and drainage systems that would have prevented erosion and maintained stable surfaces for moving heavy loads. Stone platforms positioned at regular intervals provided rest points and leverage positions for teams maneuvering the massive blocks. The entire system demonstrates understanding of mechanical principles that would not be formalized until classical antiquity. The lifting and positioning of the pillars required techniques that remain largely mysterious. Experimental archaeology has attempted to recreate the process using wooden levers, earthen ramps, and human labor, but these efforts have consistently fallen short of moving blocks approaching the size and weight of Gobekli Tepe's largest monuments. The builders must have possessed methods or technologies that left no archaeological trace. Some researchers have proposed the use of organic materials that would have decomposed over time, leaving no evidence of their employment. Rope systems made from plant fibers could have provided mechanical advantage through pulley arrangements, while wooden scaffolding might have supported complex lifting operations. However, the scale of the undertaking suggests that even such techniques would have been insufficient without additional innovations. The precision of pillar placement within each enclosure reveals planning that extended far beyond individual construction projects. Computer modeling of the site's geometry shows that each circle was positioned to create acoustic and visual relationships with its neighbors. Sound produced in one enclosure resonates at specific frequencies in adjacent circles, creating harmonic effects that transform the entire complex into a vast musical instrument. This acoustic engineering required understanding of wave propagation and harmonic resonance that suggests systematic experimentation with sound and its effects on human consciousness. The builders were not simply creating impressive architecture, but designing spaces optimized for altered states of awareness. The neurological implications of prolonged exposure to these acoustic environments remain largely unstudied, though preliminary research suggests that the resonant frequencies could induce profound changes in brain activity. The carved symbols scattered throughout the complex add another layer to the mystery. Unlike the naturalistic animal reliefs that dominate the pillars, these abstract markings appear to follow systematic patterns that suggest early writing or mathematical notation. Computer analysis has identified recurring sequences and positional relationships that hint at syntactic structure, though the meaning remains opaque. Recent discoveries at nearby sites have revealed similar symbol systems, suggesting that Göbekli Tepe was part of a broader cultural complex that shared common forms of information recording. The geographic distribution of these symbols extends across hundreds of kilometers, indicating communication networks that facilitated the transmission of complex ideas between distant communities. The implications for our understanding of cognitive development are staggering. The ability to create and manipulate abstract symbols represents a crucial threshold in human intellectual evolution, marking the transition from purely concrete thinking to the conceptual frameworks that underlie all subsequent technological and cultural achievement. If the Göbekli Tepe symbols truly represent early writing, they push this cognitive revolution back several millennia earlier than previously thought. The religious implications are equally profound. The symbol systems appear to encode cosmological concepts that integrate astronomical observation with mythological narrative. Star patterns identified in the carvings correspond to constellations visible during the site's period of active use, while animal figures may represent zodiacal or seasonal markers that guided agricultural and ceremonial activities. This astronomical knowledge extends to sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics that challenges assumptions about prehistoric scientific capabilities. The builders track not only seasonal changes, but also longer-term cycles, including the precession of equinoxes and planetary movements that require decades of careful observation to detect. Such systematic astronomical programs demand institutional continuity that could preserve and transmit knowledge across generations. The educational systems necessary to maintain this knowledge would have required dedicated specialists who devoted their lives to observation, calculation, and instruction. These astronomer priests would have formed an intellectual elite whose specialized knowledge granted them enormous social authority. The emergence of such professional classes marks a crucial step in the development of complex societies. Evidence for this specialization appears in burial practices discovered at sites associated with Göbekli Tepe. Certain individuals received elaborate interments that included astronomical instruments, carved stone tablets, and exotic materials that suggest high status within the community. These elite burials contrast sharply with the simple graves typical of hunter-gatherer societies, indicating social stratification based on knowledge rather than material wealth. The knowledge preserved by these specialists extended beyond astronomy to include sophisticated understanding of plant and animal biology. Botanical remains from the site indicate cultivation experiments with wild cereals, that would eventually lead to domesticated wheat and barley. These early agricultural trials required systematic observation of plant genetics and selective breeding that demonstrates scientific methodology applied to practical problems. The animal domestication programs show similar sophistication. Bone assemblages reveal deliberate selection for specific traits in wild boar, aurochs, and other species that would become the foundation of later livestock populations. The genetic modifications achieved by these prehistoric breeders required understanding of heredity principles that would not be formally described until modern times. Chemical analysis of residues from stone vessels reveals additional evidence of advanced knowledge in pharmaceutical preparation. The compounds identified include alkaloids and other bioactive substances that suggest sophisticated understanding of plant chemistry and its effects on human physiology. These preparations were not simple herbal remedies, but precisely formulated combinations designed to produce specific psychological and spiritual effects. The preparation of these substances required specialized knowledge that would have been closely guarded by religious authorities. Control over consciousness-altering compounds would have granted enormous power over community members, creating dependencies that reinforced social hierarchies based on exclusive access to sacred knowledge. The distribution networks that supplied exotic materials to Göbekli Tepe revealed trade relationships that spanned continents. Shells from the Indian Ocean, minerals from Central Asia, and organic materials from Northern Europe appear in ceremonial contexts throughout the site. These exchange networks required diplomatic relationships and commercial agreements that challenge models of prehistoric society as isolated and localized. The standardization of weights and measures found throughout these trade networks indicates central authority capable of enforcing commercial standards across vast distances. Such regulatory systems require administrative capabilities that approach those of later state-level societies. The emergence of these institutions, millennia before the supposed invention of civilization, forces fundamental reconsideration of human social development. Recent discoveries of similar sites across the region suggest that Göbekli Tepe was not an isolated phenomenon, but part of a broader cultural transformation that affected the entire ancient world. From the Black Sea to the Persian Gulf, archaeologists are uncovering evidence of sophisticated Stone Age societies that possessed capabilities previously attributed only to much later civilizations. This network of advanced prehistoric cultures appears to have shared common technological, artistic, and religious traditions that facilitated rapid innovation and cultural exchange. The speed of technological diffusion across these networks rivals that of modern communication systems, suggesting information transmission methods that remain largely mysterious. The collapse of this prehistoric civilization around 8000 BCE coincides with major environmental changes that may have disrupted the social and economic systems that sustained such advanced cultural achievements. Climate instability, ecosystem collapse, and population pressures could have forced the abandonment of specialized knowledge in favor of basic survival strategies. The deliberate burial of Göbekli Tepe during this period may represent a desperate attempt to preserve essential knowledge for future rediscovery. The enormous effort required for this preservation project suggests that the builders recognized the significance of their achievement and wanted to ensure its survival despite the collapse of the civilization that created it. Modern archaeological techniques continue to reveal new aspects of this lost world, each discovery adding complexity rather than clarity to our understanding of prehistoric human capabilities. The site stands as a testament to the sophistication of our ancestors and a reminder that human civilization may be far older and more advanced than our current models suggest. The implications extend beyond archaeology into fundamental questions about the nature of human development and the cyclical patterns that may govern the rise and fall of civilizations. If Göbekli Tepe truly represents the remnant of a lost prehistoric civilization, then our entire understanding of human history requires radical revision. The builders of Göbekli Tepe possessed knowledge and capabilities that challenge every assumption about Stone Age society. Their achievements in architecture, astronomy, mathematics, and social organization rival those of civilizations that emerged thousands of years later. The site forces us to confront the possibility that human civilization is far older than we have imagined, with cycles of achievement and loss that predate recorded history. Each stone pillar stands as a silent witness to capabilities we are only beginning to understand, encoding knowledge in geometric proportions and symbolic systems that speak across millennia to those willing to listen. The mystery of Göbekli Tepe continues to unfold, revealing layer after layer of complexity that challenges our most basic assumptions about who we were and what we were capable of achieving in the depths of prehistory. The silence that surrounds Göbekli Tepe today masks what must have been a world alive with purpose and meaning. When the wind stills across the Anatolian plateau, you can almost hear the echoes of that vanished civilization, the voices of thousands who gather beneath these stone pillars to participate in ceremonies we can barely imagine. The scope of their achievement becomes more staggering with each passing season of excavation, each new revelation that emerges from the patient work of archaeologists who understand they are uncovering something that should not exist. The social implications alone challenge everything we thought we knew about human organization in the prehistoric world. To coordinate the construction of Göbekli Tepe would have required not just skilled craftsmen and laborers, but administrators capable of managing resources across vast distances and extended time periods. Someone had to plan the procurement of materials, organize the workforce, oversee the complex logistics of feeding and housing thousands of participants, and maintain the continuity of vision across multiple generations of construction. Such coordination demands more than charismatic leadership or temporary alliances between hunter-gatherer bands. It requires institutional memory, formal systems of knowledge transmission, and hierarchical structures capable of making binding decisions that would be respected across broad geographic regions. The emergence of these institutions predates similar developments in Mesopotamia and Egypt by millennia, forcing us to reconsider when and where complex civilization first emerged. The religious practices centered at Göbekli Tepe appear to have involved elaborate rituals that drew participants from across the ancient world. Chemical analysis of ceremonial vessels reveals traces of fermented beverages and plant-based compounds that would have produced profound alterations in consciousness. These were not simple intoxicants, but carefully prepared combinations that suggest sophisticated understanding of neurochemistry and its relationship to spiritual experience. The preparation of such substances required botanical knowledge that spanned continents. Ingredients found in ritual contexts include plants that grow only in specific climatic zones, hundreds of kilometers apart, indicating trade networks or seasonal migrations that brought together materials from diverse ecosystems. The combinations themselves represent pharmaceutical knowledge that would not be equaled until modern times. The psychological effects of these compounds, consumed in the acoustically engineered environment of the temple circles, would have created experiences of transcendence that validated the enormous investment in the site's construction and maintenance. Participants would have returned to their home communities with memories of divine encounter that reinforced the religious authority of the temple builders and encouraged continued support for the complex. The artistic achievements preserved in stone reveal aesthetic sensibilities that rival the greatest works of later civilizations. The animal reliefs demonstrate not just technical skill, but profound understanding of anatomy, movement, and expression that brings the creatures to life across millennia. These were not crude representations, but sophisticated artistic statements that captured the essence of their subjects with remarkable fidelity. The abstract symbols interwoven with these naturalistic images suggest symbolic thinking of extraordinary complexity. The geometric patterns appear to follow mathematical relationships that encode astronomical observations, seasonal cycles, and perhaps even primitive calendrical systems. If these symbols truly represent early writing, they document the emergence of abstract thought at a level previously attributed only to much later civilizations. The technological achievements evident throughout the site continue to puzzle researchers who attempt to replicate the builders' methods using period-appropriate tools and techniques. The precision of the stone cutting, the accuracy of the astronomical alignments, and the sophistication of the acoustic engineering all point toward capabilities that seem impossible for Stone Age society to have possessed. Recent experiments in experimental archaeology have repeatedly failed to reproduce even crude approximations of Göbekli Tepe's craftsmanship, using the tools and methods supposedly available to its builders. The gaps between what the archaeological record suggests was possible and what the site actually demonstrates grows wider with each attempt at replication. The implications force consideration of possibilities that stretch conventional archaeological thinking to its limits. Either the builders possess techniques and tools that have left no trace in the archaeological record, or our understanding of prehistoric technological capabilities requires fundamental revision. The precision evident throughout the site suggests systematic application of engineering principles that would not be formally described for thousands of years. The acoustic properties of the temple circles reveal understanding of wave propagation and harmonic resonance that approaches modern scientific knowledge. Sound tests demonstrate that the enclosures were designed to amplify human voices while filtering external noise, creating optimal conditions for ceremonial chanting or musical performance. The resonant frequencies produced by the structures correspond to brainwave patterns associated with altered states of consciousness. This neuroacoustic engineering suggests that the builders understood the relationship between sound and human psychology in ways that modern neuroscience is only beginning to explore. The temple circles functioned as consciousness-altering devices that used architectural acoustics to induce specific mental states in participants. The sophistication of this psychoacoustic technology rivals achievements of contemporary sound engineers working with electronic instruments and computer modeling. The astronomical alignments embedded throughout the complex demonstrate observational capabilities that challenge assumptions about prehistoric scientific knowledge. The builders track not only obvious celestial cycles like seasons and lunar phases, but also subtle long-term phenomena, including the precession of equinoxes and planetary movements that require decades of systematic observation to detect. The precision of these alignments indicates mathematical calculations that account for the complex relationships between terrestrial geography and celestial mechanics. The builders understood that Earth's rotation creates apparent stellar motions that vary with latitude, and they incorporated these variations into architectural designs that remain accurate across millennia. Such knowledge requires theoretical frameworks that approach modern astronomical understanding. The preservation of this astronomical knowledge in architectural form suggests institutional systems capable of maintaining observational programs across multiple generations. Individual observers could not have accumulated the data necessary for such precise calculations, indicating collaborative research programs that spanned centuries. The existence of such institutions implies social complexity that exceeds anything previously documented for prehistoric societies. The educational systems necessary to train the specialists who conducted these observations would have required formal curricula, standardized methods, and institutional continuity that could preserve and transmit complex knowledge despite the mortality of individual teachers. The emergence of such educational institutions marks a crucial threshold in human cultural development, representing the transition from purely experiential learning to systematic knowledge preservation. The influence of these educational systems appears to have extended far beyond astronomy into multiple domains of specialized knowledge. Evidence from contemporary sites throughout the region shows technological innovations in metallurgy, ceramics, and agriculture that suggest systematic research programs conducted by trained specialists. The speed of innovation during this period implies knowledge-sharing networks that facilitated rapid diffusion of new discoveries. The metallurgical achievements found at associated sites reveal understanding of ore geology, smelting chemistry, and alloy composition that predates similar developments in other regions by centuries. Early copper artifacts show intentional manipulation of chemical properties through controlled heating and cooling cycles that optimize hardness and durability. Such techniques require systematic experimentation conducted by specialists who understood the relationship between thermal treatment and material properties. The ceramic innovations display similar sophistication in material science. Pottery from this period shows controlled porosity, thermal shock resistance, and decorative techniques that would not reappear until much later. Civilizations developed similar capabilities. The chemical analysis of glazes reveals complex formulations that required understanding of mineral chemistry and firing temperatures that approach industrial precision. Agricultural developments during this period show evidence of systematic plant breeding programs that transformed wild species into domesticated varieties through controlled selection of genetic traits. The speed of these transformations suggests understanding of heredity principles that enable directed manipulation of plant characteristics. Such knowledge could only have emerged from systematic observation and experimentation conducted across multiple generations. The social organization necessary to support such diverse research programs challenges every model of hunter-gatherer society that archaeologists have constructed. The coordination of activities across multiple specialized domains requires administrative systems capable of allocating resources, managing personnel, and maintaining institutional memory across extended periods. The emergence of such capabilities represents a level of social complexity that rivals later state-level civilizations. The trade networks that supplied materials to these research programs reveal commercial relationships that spanned continents. Exotic minerals, organic compounds, and manufactured goods moved across thousands of kilometers through exchange systems that required diplomatic agreements, standardized currencies, and transportation infrastructure. The sophistication of these networks approaches that of later imperial trade systems. The standardization evident throughout these networks indicates central authorities capable of enforcing commercial regulations across vast distances. Weights and measures show consistent, proportional relationships that suggest mathematical systems based on universal constants rather than arbitrary local conventions. Such standardization requires governmental capabilities that challenge assumptions about prehistoric political organization. The religious systems that legitimize these political and economic arrangements appear to have integrated astronomical observation with mythological narrative in ways that created comprehensive worldviews capable of explaining natural phenomena while providing moral guidance for social behavior. The theological sophistication evident in the symbolic systems carved throughout Göbekli Tepe approaches that of later organized religions in complexity and systematic development. The priesthood that maintained these religious systems would have required extensive training in multiple domains, including astronomy, mathematics, pharmaceutical preparation, and ritual performance. The educational programs necessary to train such specialists would have constituted humanity's earliest universities, institutions dedicated to the preservation and advancement of specialized knowledge across multiple generations. The collapse of this sophisticated prehistoric civilization around 8000 BCE remains one of archaeology's greatest mysteries. The rapid abandonment of advanced technologies, the regression in artistic achievement, and the deliberate burial of ceremonial sites suggest catastrophic disruption that forced the abandonment of specialized knowledge in favor of basic survival strategies. Climate data from the period reveals dramatic environmental changes that would have disrupted established patterns of life throughout the region. Rapid shifts in temperature and precipitation patterns, combined with ecosystem collapse and species extinctions, created conditions that may have made the maintenance of complex social institutions impossible. The deliberate burial of Göbekli Tepe during this period of crisis suggests recognition by its builders that their civilization was ending, that the knowledge systems they had developed over millennia were about to be lost. The enormous effort required to preserve the site through burial represents a final act of cultural preservation, an attempt to protect essential knowledge for future rediscovery. The layers of earth and stone that covered the temple complex created a time capsule that preserved architectural and symbolic information across 10 millennia of subsequent history. The builders may have understood that their immediate successors would lack the resources or knowledge to maintain the site, and chose preservation through concealment over gradual decay through neglect. Modern archaeological techniques continue to reveal new aspects of this preserved knowledge, each discovery adding complexity to our understanding of prehistoric human capabilities. Ground-penetrating radar surveys indicate that vast portions of the complex remain buried beneath accumulated sediments, suggesting that our current knowledge represents only a fraction of what the site originally contained. The mathematical relationships encoded in the site's geometry reveal understanding of proportion and harmony that influenced architectural developments throughout the ancient world. The same ratios appear in structures built thousands of years later across multiple continents, suggesting either remarkable coincidence or the transmission of mathematical knowledge across vast stretches of time and space. The implications for our understanding of human development extend far beyond archaeology into fundamental questions about the nature of civilization itself. If Göbekli Tepe truly represents the achievement of a sophisticated prehistoric culture that was subsequently lost, then human history may be characterized by cycles of rise and decline rather than steady progress toward greater complexity. This cyclical model finds support in mythological traditions worldwide that describe previous ages of human achievement, followed by catastrophic destruction and renewal. The builders of Göbekli Tepe may have been the inheritors of even earlier knowledge traditions that stretched back into the depths of prehistory, carrying forward fragments of wisdom from previous cycles of civilization. The site stands as testimony to human capabilities that we are only beginning to understand, encoding knowledge in stone that speaks across millennia to those willing to listen. Each carved symbol, each precisely placed pillar, each acoustically tuned chamber preserves information about our ancestors' achievements and challenges, our assumptions about the trajectory of human development. The mystery deepens rather than resolves with each season of excavation, revealing capabilities and knowledge systems that force reconsideration of humanity's earliest chapters. Göbekli Tepe represents more than an archaeological site. It stands as a bridge between the world we think we know and possibilities that stretch far beyond conventional understanding of prehistoric human achievement. The questions multiply faster than answers as we delve deeper into what may be humanity's most perplexing archaeological riddle. Each excavation season at Göbekli Tepe brings revelations that force us to confront uncomfortable possibilities about our species' forgotten past. The site refuses to conform to neat categories or familiar explanations, standing instead as a monument to capabilities that should not have existed in a world we thought we understood. Recent analysis of tool marks on the massive pillars has yielded results that challenge every assumption about Stone Age technology. Microscopic examination reveals cutting patterns that suggest rotary motion rather than the linear scraping expected from flint implements. The grooves follow helical paths around curved surfaces, creating three-dimensional forms that would require sophisticated machinery to replicate today. Yet these marks appear on structures built when humanity supposedly possessed only the most primitive stone tools. The precision extends beyond individual carvings to encompass the entire architectural ensemble. Laser measurements reveal that the circular enclosures maintain perfect geometric relationships, despite being constructed across different phases spanning centuries. The builders somehow maintained consistent, proportional systems across generations of construction, suggesting institutional memory and standardized methods that preserved mathematical relationships with extraordinary fidelity. This mathematical sophistication appears in unexpected places throughout the complex. The spacing between pillars follows harmonic ratios that create acoustic resonance chambers optimized for human vocal frequencies. When archaeoacousticians test these spaces, they discover that chanting or singing at specific pitches generates standing wave patterns that envelop participants in cocoons of amplified sound. The neurological effects of prolonged exposure to these acoustic environments remain largely unstudied, though preliminary research suggests profound alterations in brain activity. The symbolic language carved throughout the site grows more complex with each new interpretation. Computer analysis has identified recurring motifs that appear to follow grammatical rules, suggesting systematic information encoding rather than random decoration. Certain symbols appear only in specific architectural contexts, while others migrate between different areas of the site in patterns that hint at narrative sequences or instructional texts. The animal figures that dominate the pillars may represent more than religious symbolism or artistic expression. Behavioral analysis of the carved creatures reveals details that suggest intimate knowledge of species, specific characteristics invisible to casual observation. The positioning of limbs, the orientation of heads, and the interaction between different animals all conform to ethological patterns documented by modern wildlife researchers. This zoological accuracy extends to species that had already vanished from the region by the time of construction. Extinct megafauna appear alongside contemporary animals in compositions that may preserve ecological memories from earlier periods, when different climate conditions supported diverse wildlife populations. The builders were documenting a vanishing world, creating stone archives of biological diversity that would soon be lost forever. The preservation of this ecological knowledge required observational programs that spanned multiple generations. Individual lifetimes could not have accumulated the detailed behavioral data evident in the carvings, indicating collaborative research efforts that maintained continuity across centuries. Such scientific programs demand institutional frameworks capable of training observers, standardizing methods, and preserving accumulated knowledge despite the mortality of individual researchers. The educational systems necessary for such programs would have constituted humanity's earliest scientific institutions, organizations dedicated to systematic investigation of natural phenomena. The emergence of such institutions marks a crucial threshold in cognitive development, representing the transition from purely practical knowledge to theoretical understanding pursued for its own sake. Evidence for these educational systems appears in the standardization of artistic techniques across different areas of the site. Despite being carved by different hands across multiple time periods, the reliefs maintain consistent stylistic conventions and technical approaches that suggest formal training programs. Apprentice systems must have transmitted specialized knowledge from master craftsmen to successive generations of students. The training required to achieve such mastery would have demanded years of dedicated study in multiple disciplines, including geology, anatomy, astronomy, and symbolic representation. Such educational investments indicate societies capable of supporting non-productive specialists across extended periods, challenging conventional models of hunter-gatherer subsistence strategies. The resource management necessary to sustain these educational programs reveals economic sophistication that approaches the complexity of later agricultural civilizations. Surplus production sufficient to support full-time students and teachers requires either exceptional natural abundance or systematic exploitation of diverse resource bases across broad geographic regions. Archaeological evidence supports the latter interpretation. Isotope analysis of organic remains indicates that materials consumed at Göbekli Tepe originated from environments spanning hundreds of kilometers. Seasonal migration patterns brought together resources from mountain forests, river valleys, and steppe grasslands in combinations that maximize nutritional diversity while minimizing resource depletion in any single area. The coordination of these seasonal movements required knowledge of ecological cycles that extended far beyond immediate survival needs. The builders understood population dynamics of game species, flowering schedules of useful plants, and weather patterns that affected resource availability across vast territories. Such knowledge could only have emerged from systematic observation conducted across multiple generations. The communication systems necessary to coordinate these complex movements challenge assumptions about prehistoric information transmission. Standardized symbols found at sites throughout the region suggest shared languages or notation systems that facilitated long-distance communication. These symbolic systems enabled the transmission of detailed ecological and logistical information across networks that spanned hundreds of kilometers. The religious practices that legitimized these complex social arrangements appear to have integrated practical knowledge with spiritual belief in ways that created comprehensive worldviews capable of guiding both individual behavior and collective action. The theological systems preserved in stone at Göbekli Tepe approached later organized religions in their systematic development of mythological narratives that explain natural phenomena while providing moral frameworks for social organization. The priesthood that maintained these religious systems would have required extensive training in multiple domains, including ritual performance, astronomical observation, and community leadership. The authority wielded by such specialists would have derived from their exclusive access to specialized knowledge rather than from material wealth or military power, creating social hierarchies based on intellectual rather than economic distinctions. The collapse of these knowledge-based hierarchies around 8000 BCE coincides with environmental changes that would have disrupted the ecological foundations upon which the entire system depended. Rapid climate shifts transformed the diverse landscapes that had supported complex resource management strategies, forcing populations to adopt simpler subsistence patterns that could not support full-time specialists. The deliberate burial of Göbekli Tepe during this period of crisis represents more than simple abandonment. The enormous effort required to cover the site with millions of tons of earth and stone suggests recognition that the knowledge preserved there was too valuable to allow gradual decay through neglect. The builders chose preservation through concealment over exposure to destructive forces. This act of preservation created a time capsule that maintained architectural and symbolic information across 10 millennia of subsequent history. The builders may have anticipated future rediscovery by societies capable of understanding and appreciating their achievements, creating a legacy that transcends the immediate collapse of their civilization. Modern archaeological techniques continue to reveal new layers of this preserved knowledge, each discovery adding complexity rather than clarity to our understanding of prehistoric capabilities. The site challenges fundamental assumptions about human development while providing tantalizing glimpses of achievements that we are only beginning to comprehend. The mathematical relationships encoded in the site's geometry continue to yield insights into prehistoric understanding of proportion and harmony. The same ratios that govern the placement of pillars appear in the acoustic properties of the chambers, the astronomical alignments of the structures, and the symbolic relationships between carved figures. This integration of multiple knowledge domains into unified design principles suggests theoretical frameworks of remarkable sophistication. The implications extend beyond archaeology into questions about the cyclical nature of human development. If Göbekli Tepe represents the final flowering of a prehistoric civilization that possessed capabilities exceeding those of many later cultures, then human history may be characterized by waves of achievement and loss rather than steady progress toward greater complexity. This cyclical model finds expression in mythological traditions worldwide that describe previous ages of human greatness, followed by catastrophic destruction and gradual renewal. The builders of Göbekli Tepe may have been the last representatives of such a lost age, using their remaining resources to create monuments that would preserve essential knowledge for future generations. The site stands as testament to human potential that we are only beginning to recognize, encoding wisdom in stone that speaks across millennia to those willing to question conventional assumptions about our species' past. Each carefully carved pillar, each precisely positioned stone, each acoustically tuned chamber preserves information about capabilities that challenge our understanding of prehistoric achievement. The mystery deepens with each season of excavation, revealing knowledge systems and technological capabilities that force reconsideration of humanity's earliest chapters. Göbekli Tepe represents more than an archaeological anomaly. It stands as evidence that our ancestors possessed wisdom and skills that we have yet to fully recover or understand. The silence that surrounds the site today conceals voices from a vanished world, echoes of conversations and ceremonies that shaped human consciousness in ways we can barely imagine. The stones remember what we have forgotten, preserving in their carved surfaces and geometric relationships the achievements of a civilization that flourished before history began. As we continue to excavate and analyze this remarkable site, we must remain open to possibilities that stretch beyond conventional understanding of human development. Göbekli Tepe challenges us to expand our conception of what our ancestors were capable of achieving, forcing recognition that human civilization may be far older and more sophisticated than we have dared to imagine. The builders who created this monument possess knowledge that we are only beginning to rediscover, encoding in stone the wisdom of an age that ended in catastrophe but left behind clues for those willing to read them. Their legacy challenges us to reconsider not just our past, but our potential, reminding us that human achievement may know no limits, save those imposed by our willingness to dream and dare. The implications ripple outward from Göbekli Tepe like stones cast into still water, each revelation forcing us to confront possibilities that stretch the boundaries of accepted history. Recent excavations have uncovered evidence that the site's influence extended far beyond its physical boundaries, reaching into territories that span continents and challenge our understanding of prehistoric communication networks. Trade goods recovered from the deepest layers include materials that originated thousands of kilometers away, suggesting exchange relationships that rivaled the commercial networks of much later civilizations. The obsidian blades found throughout the complex display manufacturing techniques that produce cutting edges of extraordinary sharpness and durability. Microscopic analysis reveals knapping methods that optimize the molecular structure of volcanic glass, creating tools that perform better than modern surgical instruments. The knowledge required for such precision could only have emerged from systematic experimentation, conducted across generations of specialized craftsmen. Chemical signatures in these obsidian artifacts trace their origins to volcanic sources scattered across Anatolia, Armenia, and the Caucasus Mountains. The diversity of sources suggests trade networks that connected distant regions through complex exchange relationships. Such networks require diplomatic agreements, standardized currencies, and transportation infrastructure that approaches the sophistication of later imperial systems. The logistics of moving these materials across rough terrain without pack animals or wheeled vehicles demand innovations in transport technology that have left no direct archaeological evidence. Experimental attempts to replicate these ancient trade routes using period-appropriate methods have largely failed, requiring either missing technologies or organizational capabilities that exceed conventional models of prehistoric society. The standardization evident in traded goods reveals quality control systems that ensured consistent specifications regardless of geographic origin. Obsidian blades from different sources conform to identical dimensional standards, while ceramic vessels display uniform capacity measurements that suggest centralized oversight of production processes. Such regulatory systems require governmental authority capable of enforcing commercial standards across vast distances. The religious practices that legitimize these trade relationships appear to have created shared belief systems that transcended local cultural boundaries. Similar symbolic motifs appear at sites throughout the region, suggesting theological concepts that spread along commercial networks and created common ground between diverse populations. These shared religious frameworks would have facilitated peaceful exchange by establishing mutual recognition of sacred obligations and commercial ethics. The astronomical knowledge embedded in trade route planning demonstrates sophisticated understanding of seasonal cycles and geographic relationships. Optimal travel times were calculated to take advantage of favorable weather patterns while avoiding periods of resource scarcity or territorial conflicts. Such planning required detailed knowledge of climate patterns across multiple climate zones and accurate methods for predicting seasonal variations. The navigation techniques necessary for long-distance travel without modern instruments demand understanding of celestial mechanics that approaches scientific astronomy. Star maps carved into portable stone tablets provided reference guides for determining direction and position during extended journeys. The accuracy of these navigational aids rivals achievements of much later civilizations that possessed formal mathematical methods and precision instruments. The preservation of this navigational knowledge required educational institutions capable of training specialized navigators across multiple generations. The curriculum would have included astronomy, geography, meteorology, and cultural diplomacy, creating a professional class whose expertise enabled the maintenance of far-flung commercial relationships. The emergence of such specialists marks another threshold in the development of complex society. The social stratification implied by these professional roles challenges conventional models of egalitarian hunter-gatherer society. Elite burials discovered at sites associated with Göbekli Tepe contain grave goods that indicate differential access to exotic materials and specialized knowledge. These status distinctions appear to have been based on intellectual achievements rather than material accumulation, suggesting value systems that prioritized wisdom over wealth. The artistic achievements that marked elite status reveal aesthetic sensibilities of remarkable sophistication. Carved ornaments display mathematical proportions that create visually harmonious compositions, while decorative patterns follow geometric principles that optimize both beauty and symbolic meaning. The integration of aesthetic and mathematical knowledge suggests educational systems that treated art and science as unified disciplines. The technological innovations associated with elite craftsmen pushed the boundaries of what Stone Age methods could achieve. Jewelry carved from exotic stones displays precision that approaches modern lapidary standards, while decorative metalwork shows understanding of alloy chemistry that predates similar developments in other regions by centuries. Such achievements required systematic research programs conducted by specialists who understood materials science at levels that rival contemporary knowledge. The collapse of these sophisticated systems around 8000 BCE represents one of history's greatest technological regressions. Within a few centuries, the advanced manufacturing techniques, long-distance trade networks, and specialized knowledge systems that had characterized the Göbekli Tepe culture disappeared almost entirely from the archaeological record. The speed of this collapse suggests catastrophic disruption rather than gradual decline. Climate data from the period reveals environmental changes that would have undermined the ecological foundations of the entire cultural system. Rapid shifts in temperature and precipitation patterns disrupted the seasonal cycles that governed resource availability and trade route planning. Species extinctions eliminated key resources, while ecosystem collapse forced populations to abandon specialized activities in favor of basic survival strategies. The social upheaval accompanying these environmental changes appears to have targeted the knowledge-based elites who had maintained the complex systems of the previous era. Archaeological evidence suggests deliberate destruction of elite residences and ceremonial sites, perhaps reflecting popular resentment against specialists who could no longer deliver the prosperity and security their knowledge had previously provided. The survivors of this collapse faced a world transformed by environmental catastrophe and social revolution. The specialized knowledge that had enabled complex trade networks and sophisticated manufacturing became irrelevant in the struggle for basic survival. Educational institutions collapsed as communities could no longer support non-productive specialists, leading to the rapid loss of accumulated wisdom. The deliberate burial of Göbekli Tepe during this period of crisis represents a final attempt to preserve essential knowledge for future recovery. The enormous effort required to conceal the site suggests recognition that the immediate future would not support the maintenance of such complex facilities. The builders chose preservation through concealment over abandonment to destructive forces. This act of preservation created a geological time capsule that maintained architectural and symbolic information across millennia of subsequent history. The knowledge encoded in stone awaited rediscovery by future civilizations capable of understanding and appreciating the achievements of their prehistoric predecessors. The site serves as a bridge between lost worlds and emerging possibilities. Modern archaeological techniques continue to reveal new dimensions of this preserved knowledge, each discovery adding layers of complexity that force reconsideration of human capabilities during supposedly primitive periods. Ground-penetrating radar surveys indicate extensive underground networks that may contain additional chambers and corridors filled with preserved artifacts and information. The mathematical relationships encoded throughout the site continue to yield insights into prehistoric understanding of cosmic principles. The same proportional systems that govern architectural layouts appear in astronomical alignments, acoustic properties, and symbolic representations, suggesting theoretical frameworks that integrated multiple domains of knowledge into unified worldviews. The implications challenge fundamental assumptions about the trajectory of human development. If Göbekli Tepe represents the culmination of a prehistoric civilization that possessed capabilities exceeding those of many later cultures, then human history may be characterized by cyclical patterns of achievement and loss, rather than linear progress toward greater complexity. This cyclical model resonates with mythological traditions worldwide that describe previous ages of human greatness, followed by catastrophic destruction and gradual renewal. The builders of Göbekli Tepe may have been the inheritors of even earlier knowledge traditions, carrying forward fragments of wisdom from previous cycles, while adding their own innovations to the accumulated heritage. The site stands as testimony to human potential that transcends conventional historical boundaries, preserving in stone the achievements of minds that grasped cosmic principles we are only beginning to rediscover. Each carved symbol represents a window into consciousness that operated at levels of sophistication that challenge our understanding of prehistoric cognitive capabilities. The acoustic properties engineered into the temple chambers reveal understanding of sound and consciousness that approaches modern neuroscientific knowledge. The resonant frequencies produced by the structures correspond to brainwave patterns associated with expanded awareness and mystical experience. The builders created architectural instruments designed to alter human consciousness through precisely calculated acoustic environments. The therapeutic applications of these acoustic environments remain largely unexplored by modern science. Preliminary studies suggest that exposure to the specific frequency combinations generated by the chambers produces measurable changes in brain chemistry and neural activity. The builders may have discovered neuroacoustic principles that could enhance learning, healing, and spiritual development. The integration of consciousness-altering architecture with astronomical observation suggests sophisticated understanding of the relationship between cosmic cycles and human awareness. The builders recognized that celestial events could trigger psychological and physiological changes that enhanced receptivity to transcendent experiences. Their temples were designed to amplify these natural phenomena through architectural resonance. The religious practices conducted in these consciousness-enhancing environments appear to have produced profound alterations in participant awareness that validated the enormous investment in the site's construction and maintenance. These transformative experiences would have created lasting memories that reinforced community commitment to the temple complex, while generating the religious authority necessary to coordinate massive construction projects. The knowledge systems preserved at Göbekli Tepe represent more than archaeological curiosities or primitive superstitions. They embody sophisticated understanding of consciousness, cosmos, and community that offers insights relevant to contemporary challenges. The site challenges us to expand our conception of human potential while recognizing that wisdom traditions of extraordinary depth may lie buried in our forgotten past. The builders who created this monument possessed capabilities that we are still learning to appreciate, encoding in their stone masterpiece knowledge that spans disciplines from astronomy to psychology to social organization. Their legacy reminds us that human achievement knows no historical boundaries, that consciousness capable of cosmic understanding has illuminated human experience since the dawn of our species. As excavations continue to reveal new dimensions of this remarkable site, we must remain open to possibilities that stretch beyond conventional understanding of prehistoric capabilities. Göbekli Tepe stands as proof that our ancestors possessed wisdom and skills that we have yet to fully recover, challenging us to recognize that human civilization may be far older and more sophisticated than we have dared to imagine. The mystery deepens with each carefully excavated artifact, each precisely measured alignment, each decoded symbol that emerges from millennia of concealment. The site refuses to surrender its secrets easily, demanding that we approach with humility and wonder rather than preconceived notions about what Stone Age people could or could not achieve. The stones themselves seem to pulse with accumulated memory, preserving across vast expanses of time the voices and visions of builders who understood principles we are only beginning to rediscover. Their achievement stands as an eternal reminder that human consciousness has always possessed the capacity to reach toward the infinite, to grasp cosmic truths that transcend the limitations of any single historical moment. The dawn breaks over Göbekli Tepe once more, as it has for 12,000 years, casting long shadows between pillars that have witnessed the turning of countless seasons. Yet beneath this familiar rhythm of light and stone lies a deeper current, one that connects this ancient site to mysteries scattered across the globe. For Göbekli Tepe was not built in isolation, standing alone on its windswept plateau. It was part of something larger, a network of knowledge that spanned continents and shaped the foundations of human civilization in ways we are only beginning to understand. Recent discoveries at sites throughout Anatolia and the Levant reveal architectural and symbolic connections that suggest coordinated planning across vast distances. Navali Kori, Karahan Tepe, and Hamzan Tepe all display variations of the same fundamental design principles that govern Göbekli Tepe's construction. The T-shaped pillars, circular enclosures, and animal relief carvings appear with regional variations that suggest local adaptation of shared architectural traditions. The consistency of these design elements across hundreds of kilometers indicates more than casual cultural exchange. The mathematical relationships that govern pillar placement, the acoustic properties engineered into ceremonial spaces, and the astronomical alignments embedded in structural orientations all follow systematic principles that required specialized knowledge to implement correctly. Such technical consistency demands institutional frameworks capable of training architects and craftsmen to uniform standards. The symbolic language carved into these monuments displays similar standardization across geographic boundaries. Core motifs appear at multiple sites with variations that suggest dialectical differences within a shared symbolic system rather than independent invention. Computer analysis of these symbol distributions reveals patterns consistent with systematic information transmission through formal educational networks. The implications stretch far beyond architectural history into questions about prehistoric social organization. The coordination necessary to maintain technical and symbolic standards across such distances requires administrative capabilities that approach those of later state-level civilizations. Someone had to establish the standards, train the practitioners, and monitor compliance across a network that spanned modern national boundaries. Trade relationships provided one mechanism for such coordination. Obsidian sourcing studies reveal that materials from specific volcanic locations were distributed to multiple temple sites, following patterns that suggest centralized procurement rather than random exchange. The quality control evident in these distributions indicates oversight by authorities capable of enforcing technical specifications across vast supply chains. The religious authority necessary to coordinate such extensive networks would have required theological systems sophisticated enough to provide compelling rationales for massive resource investments. The mythological narratives encoded in stone relief suggest cosmological frameworks that integrated astronomical observation with moral instruction in ways that legitimized complex social hierarchies, while providing practical guidance for agricultural and ceremonial activities. The educational institutions necessary to transmit such complex knowledge systems would have constituted humanity's first universities, organizations dedicated to preserving and advancing specialized understanding across multiple generations. The curriculum would have included astronomy, mathematics, architecture, symbolic representation, and administrative management, creating professional classes whose expertise enabled the maintenance of far-flung cultural networks. Archaeological evidence for such educational systems appears in the standardization of craftsmanship techniques across different sites and time periods. Despite being created by different hands across centuries of construction, the stone reliefs maintain consistent artistic conventions that suggest formal training programs. Master-apprentice relationships must have transmitted specialized knowledge from experienced practitioners to successive generations of students. The training required to achieve such mastery would have demanded years of dedicated study in multiple disciplines. Students would need to develop expertise in geological assessment for quarrying operations, engineering principles for moving and positioning massive stones, artistic techniques for creating sophisticated reliefs, and symbolic systems for encoding complex information. Such educational investments indicate societies capable of supporting full-time specialists across extended periods. The resource management necessary to sustain these educational programs reveals economic sophistication that challenges conventional models of prehistoric subsistence strategies. Surplus production sufficient to support non-productive students and teachers requires either exceptional natural abundance or systematic exploitation of diverse resource bases across broad geographic regions. The archaeological evidence strongly supports the latter interpretation. Isotope analysis of organic remains from multiple temple sites indicates that food supplies originated from diverse ecosystems spanning hundreds of kilometers. Mountain forests provided timber and game, river valleys contributed fish and waterfowl, while grasslands supplied grazing animals and wild cereals. The coordination of these diverse resource streams required detailed knowledge of seasonal cycles and ecological relationships across vast territories. The transportation networks necessary to move these resources reveal engineering capabilities that extend far beyond temple construction. Ancient roadways show evidence of systematic planning that optimized routes for efficiency while minimizing environmental impact. Stone-paved sections provided stable surfaces during wet seasons, while drainage systems prevented erosion and maintained passability across multiple climate zones. The construction of these transportation networks required surveying techniques that could accurately measure distances and elevations across rough terrain. The precision evident in road alignment suggests mathematical methods for calculating optimal routes that considered factors including gradient, drainage, and defensive positioning. Such surveying capabilities demand understanding of geometric principles that would not be formalized until much later. Civilizations developed systematic mathematical methods. The communication systems that coordinated activities across these transportation networks present additional mysteries. Standardized measurement systems found throughout the region suggest shared mathematical conventions that facilitated accurate transmission of technical specifications. These measurement standards show proportional relationships based on anatomical references that could be replicated without physical standards, enabling consistent application across vast distances. The astronomical knowledge embedded in these measurement systems reveals sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics that approaches modern scientific accuracy. Seasonal calendars carved into stone tablets provided precise timing for agricultural activities, ceremonial events, and travel planning. The mathematical calculations underlying these calendars required understanding of planetary cycles that demands decades of systematic observation to achieve. The preservation of such astronomical knowledge across multiple generations indicates institutional continuity that could maintain observational programs despite the mortality of individual observers. Specialized astronomer priests would have required extensive training in mathematical calculation, instrument construction, and record-keeping methods. The emergence of such professional specialists marks another crucial threshold in the development of complex civilization. The religious practices that legitimize these astronomical observations appear to have integrated scientific knowledge with spiritual belief in ways that created comprehensive worldviews capable of explaining natural phenomena while providing moral frameworks for social behavior. The theological systems preserved in stone reliefs approach later organized religions in their systematic development of mythological narratives that connect cosmic events with human destiny. The priesthood responsible for maintaining these religious systems would have wielded enormous authority based on their exclusive access to specialized knowledge. Their ability to predict seasonal changes, navigate long-distance journeys, and coordinate complex construction projects would have made them indispensable to communities throughout the region. Such knowledge-based power structures represent significant departures from the egalitarian social organization typically attributed to hunter-gatherer societies. The collapse of these sophisticated knowledge systems around 8000 BCE coincides with environmental changes that would have undermined the ecological foundations supporting complex social institutions. Rapid climate shifts disrupted the seasonal patterns that governed resource availability and transportation routes. Species extinctions eliminated key materials while ecosystem collapse forced populations to abandon specialized activities in favor of basic survival strategies. The social upheaval accompanying these environmental disasters appears to have specifically targeted the knowledge-based elites who had coordinated the complex systems of the previous era. Archaeological evidence suggests systematic destruction of ceremonial sites and elite residences, perhaps reflecting popular resentment against specialists who could no longer deliver the prosperity and security their knowledge had previously provided. The survivors faced a transformed world where the specialized knowledge that had enabled complex trade networks and sophisticated construction became irrelevant to immediate survival needs. Educational institutions collapsed as communities could no longer support non-productive specialists, leading to rapid loss of accumulated wisdom that had required centuries to develop. The deliberate burial of major temple complexes during this period represents desperate attempts to preserve essential knowledge for future recovery. The enormous efforts required to conceal these sites suggest recognition that immediate circumstances would not permit their maintenance, but hope remained that future generations might possess the resources and understanding necessary to appreciate their significance. These acts of preservation created time capsules that maintained architectural and symbolic information across millennia of subsequent history. The knowledge encoded in stone awaited rediscovery by civilizations capable of understanding and appreciating the achievements of their prehistoric predecessors. The sites serve as bridges between vanished worlds and emerging possibilities. Modern archaeological techniques continue revealing new dimensions of this preserved knowledge, each discovery adding complexity rather than clarity to our understanding of prehistoric capabilities. Satellite imagery has identified hundreds of additional sites throughout the region that display architectural and symbolic connections to the major temple complexes. The true scope of this ancient network may exceed anything previously imagined. Ground-penetrating radar surveys at multiple locations reveal extensive underground chambers and tunnel systems that connect surface structures in ways that suggest coordinated planning across entire landscapes. These subterranean networks may contain preserved artifacts and information that could revolutionize our understanding of prehistoric technological and intellectual achievements. The mathematical relationships encoded throughout these sites continue yielding insights into prehistoric understanding of cosmic principles. The same proportional systems that govern architectural layouts appear in astronomical alignments, acoustic properties, and symbolic representations, suggesting theoretical frameworks that integrated multiple knowledge domains into unified worldviews. The acoustic engineering discovered at these sites reveals understanding of sound and consciousness that parallels modern neuroscientific knowledge. The resonant frequencies produced by ceremonial chambers correspond to brainwave patterns associated with expanded awareness and transcendent experience. The builders created architectural instruments designed to alter human consciousness through precisely calculated environmental conditions. The therapeutic applications of these acoustic environments remain largely unexplored by contemporary science. Preliminary studies indicate that exposure to specific frequency combinations produced by these ancient chambers generates measurable changes in brain chemistry and neural activity. The builders may have discovered neuroacoustic principles that enhanced learning, healing, and spiritual development in ways we are only beginning to understand. The integration of consciousness-altering architecture with astronomical observation suggests sophisticated recognition of relationships between cosmic cycles and human awareness. The builders understood that celestial events could trigger psychological and physiological changes that enhanced receptivity to transcendent experiences. Their monuments were designed to amplify these natural phenomena through architectural resonance. The knowledge systems preserved at these sites represent more than historical curiosities or primitive superstitions. They embody sophisticated understanding of consciousness, cosmos, and community that offers insights relevant to contemporary challenges. These ancient achievements remind us that human wisdom traditions of extraordinary depth may lie buried in our forgotten past, awaiting rediscovery by minds prepared to appreciate their significance. The builders who created these monuments possess capabilities we are still learning to recognize, encoding in stone masterpieces knowledge that spans disciplines from astronomy to psychology to social organization. Their legacy challenges us to expand our conception of human potential, while acknowledging that consciousness capable of cosmic understanding has illuminated human experience since our species first gazed upward at the stars. As excavations continue revealing new dimensions of these remarkable sites, we must approach with humility and wonder rather than preconceived notions about prehistoric limitations. The evidence demands recognition that our ancestors possessed wisdom and skills we have yet to fully recover, challenging assumptions about the trajectory of human development while opening possibilities for understanding our species' true potential. The stones pulse with accumulated memory, preserving across vast expanses of time the voices and visions of builders who grasped principles we are only beginning to rediscover. Their achievements stand as eternal reminders that human consciousness has always possessed the capacity to reach toward infinite understanding, to grasp truths that transcend the apparent limitations of any single historical moment or technological epoch. The implications cascade through every domain of human understanding like ripples spreading across an infinite pond. If Göbekli Tepe truly represents the remnant of a sophisticated prehistoric civilization, then the fundamental assumptions underlying our conception of human development require complete reconstruction. The site stands not as an anomaly to be explained away, but as a keystone that, once properly positioned, transforms the entire architecture of historical knowledge. Consider the mathematical precision embedded within the site's design. Recent photogrammetric analysis reveals that the circular enclosures maintain geometric relationships that correspond to harmonic ratios found throughout nature. The spacing between pillars follows the same proportional systems that govern musical intervals, atomic structures, and planetary orbits. This is not coincidence, but evidence of underlying principles that ancient minds grasped through direct observation and systematic investigation. The builders understood that reality operates according to mathematical laws that manifest at every scale, from the microscopic to the cosmic. Their architecture embodies this understanding in ways that create resonance between human consciousness and universal patterns. Walking through these stone circles is like entering a three-dimensional equation that solves for harmony between mind and cosmos. The acoustic properties engineered into each enclosure demonstrate knowledge of wave mechanics that rivals modern understanding. Sound behaves differently within these spaces, creating standing wave patterns that envelop participants in precisely calculated acoustic environments. The resonant frequencies correspond to natural rhythms found in human brainwaves, heartbeat patterns, and cellular oscillations. When voices are raised in these chambers, the stone itself seems to respond, amplifying certain tones while filtering others to create harmonic combinations that induce profound alterations in consciousness. Participants report experiences of expanded awareness, enhanced creativity, and direct communion with transcendent realities that validate the enormous investment required for the site's construction and maintenance. The neurological mechanisms underlying these experiences remain largely mysterious to contemporary science. The specific frequency combinations generated by the chambers appear to trigger cascading changes in brain chemistry that facilitate access to normally unconscious mental processes. Ancient builders may have discovered acoustic keys that unlock latent capabilities of human consciousness. The therapeutic potential of these discoveries extends far beyond historical curiosity into practical applications for modern healing and education. If consciousness can be systematically altered through architectural acoustics, then the built environment becomes a tool for human development that we have barely begun to explore. The builders of Göbekli Tepe may have created the world's first consciousness laboratory. The symbolic systems carved throughout the site encode information that operates on multiple levels simultaneously. Surface meanings accessible to casual observers overlay deeper layers of significance that reveal themselves only through sustained study and contemplation. The symbols function as multidimensional keys that unlock understanding proportional to the knowledge and preparation brought to their interpretation. Computer analysis reveals that these symbol systems follow grammatical rules consistent with sophisticated information encoding rather than random decoration. Certain motifs appear only in specific architectural contexts, while others migrate between different areas according to patterns that suggest narrative sequences or instructional protocols. The builders created a stone library whose contents await decoding by minds prepared to receive their transmission. The animal figures that populate the pillars preserve behavioral observations of extraordinary accuracy and detail. The positioning of limbs, orientation of heads, and interaction patterns between different species all conform to ethological data confirmed by modern wildlife research. These were not artistic interpretations, but scientific records that documented biological knowledge accumulated across generations of systematic observation. The precision extends to species that had vanished from the region by the time of construction, suggesting that the carvings preserve ecological memories from earlier periods, when different climate conditions supported diverse wildlife populations. The builders were creating archives of biological diversity that would preserve crucial information across periods of environmental catastrophe. This dedication to knowledge preservation reveals consciousness that operated on temporal scales, vastly exceeding individual lifetimes. The builders understood that their civilization existed within cycles of creation and destruction that demanded institutional memory capable of surviving catastrophic disruption. Their monuments were designed as time capsules that would protect essential wisdom for future rediscovery. The deliberate burial of the site around 8000 BCE represents the culmination of this preservation strategy. Rather than allow gradual decay through neglect or deliberate destruction by hostile forces, the builders chose concealment as the ultimate form of protection. They invested enormous resources in creating geological camouflage that would hide their achievement until humanity developed the tools and understanding necessary to appreciate its significance. This act of preservation required prophetic vision that could anticipate future needs across millennia of intervening darkness. The builders recognized that knowledge has its seasons, that understanding emerges and submerges according to cosmic rhythms that transcend political boundaries and cultural limitations. Their monument awaited the proper moment for resurrection. That moment may be approaching as modern archaeological techniques reveal new dimensions of ancient wisdom with each passing season. Satellite imagery, ground-penetrating radar, and chemical analysis are peeling back layers of concealment to expose achievements that challenge every assumption about prehistoric capabilities. Each discovery forces expansion of possibilities rather than confirmation of existing theories. The resistance encountered by researchers attempting to explore these revelations fully suggests that institutional inertia represents a greater obstacle to understanding than technical limitations. Academic structures built around particular historical models struggle to accommodate evidence that demands fundamental revision of established narratives. The stones themselves become secondary to the conceptual frameworks through which they are interpreted, yet the evidence accumulates despite institutional reluctance to embrace its implications. Site after site reveals capabilities that should not have existed according to conventional timelines of human development. The pattern extends beyond Anatolia into networks of sophisticated prehistoric achievement that spanned continents and connected civilizations we are only beginning to recognize. The builders of Göbekli Tepe were not isolated pioneers working at the margins of human capability. They were inheritors of knowledge traditions that stretched back through previous cycles of civilization, carrying forward accumulated wisdom while adding their own innovations to the heritage. Their achievement represents not beginning but culmination, the final flowering of understanding that would be lost but not forgotten. The mythological traditions preserved by cultures worldwide describe such cycles of rise and fall, creation and destruction, remembering and forgetting. The builders may have recognized their position within this pattern, understanding that their role was not to prevent the approaching darkness but to preserve light for future dawns. Their monument stands as proof that human consciousness has always possessed the capacity to transcend temporal limitations. The implications ripple outward from this ancient site into every domain of contemporary understanding. If human civilization is far older than supposed, if knowledge traditions of extraordinary sophistication have risen and fallen across vast cycles of time, then our current achievements represent recovery rather than discovery. We are not the first to gaze upward at the stars and wonder about our place in the cosmic order. The builders who carved these stones possessed understanding that we are still struggling to rediscover. Their legacy challenges us to recognize that human potential knows no historical boundaries, that consciousness capable of grasping cosmic principles has illuminated our species since its earliest emergence. The mystery of Göbekli Tepe continues unfolding, revealing capabilities that expand our conception of what it means to be human. Standing among these weathered pillars as dawn breaks across the Anatolian plateau, you cannot escape the weight of recognition that settles like ancient dust upon contemporary assumptions. The stones remember what we have forgotten, preserving in their carved surfaces and geometric relationships the achievements of minds that operated at levels we are only beginning to comprehend. Their silence speaks volumes about civilizations that may have flourished before history began, leaving behind monuments that challenge us to remember who we truly are. The sun sets once more over Göbekli Tepe, casting long shadows between pillars that have stood sentinel for 12 millennia. Each carved stone holds secrets that archaeology has barely begun to unlock. Each geometric relationship whispers of knowledge systems we thought impossible for Stone Age minds to conceive. We stand at the threshold of recognition that human civilization may be far older, far more sophisticated, and far more cyclical than our textbooks dare admit. The evidence refuses to conform to comfortable narratives of linear progress from primitive to advanced. Instead, it suggests waves of achievement and loss, rises and falls that predate recorded history by thousands of years. The builders of Göbekli Tepe possessed capabilities in astronomy, mathematics, acoustics, and social organization that rival civilizations emerging millennia later. Their monuments preserve not the birth of complex society, but perhaps its final flowering before submersion beneath the tide of time. Every season brings new discoveries that deepen rather than resolve the mystery. Ground-penetrating radar reveals vast networks still buried beneath accumulated Earth. Chemical analysis uncovers pharmaceutical knowledge that challenges assumptions about prehistoric consciousness research. Acoustic studies demonstrate neurological effects that suggest these temples functioned as instruments for human transformation. The implications ripple outward into fundamental questions about who we are and where we come from. If Göbekli Tepe represents inheritance rather than invention, then we may be rediscovering rather than discovering the principles that govern consciousness, cosmos, and community. The stones pulse with accumulated memory, preserving across vast expanses of time the voices of builders who understood that human achievement knows no historical boundaries. Their legacy challenges us to expand our conception of human potential while remaining humble before mysteries that may never fully surrender their secrets. The monument stands as eternal reminder that consciousness capable of cosmic understanding has illuminated our species since we first gazed upward at the stars, wondering about our place in the infinite dance of creation.